Marks what would have been the 80th birthday of jazz legend, anti-apartheid activist Hugh Masekela. But Hugh, as he was affectionately known, departed on just over a year ago. In celebration of his life and achievements, the Hugh Masekela Heritage Foundation, Manhattan School of Music and the ELMA Music Foundation have established a scholarship. For more on this, we're joined in studio by Selema Masekela, the nephew of Hugh. Thank you very much indeed, sir, for your time. Just tell us a bit about this scholarship. It is to pursue a Bachelor of Music degree at Manhattan School of Music, I understand. Tell us about the principal goal of this endeavor.
Well, the principal goal is to offer 6 underprivileged students, South African students, an opportunity to study music at this prestigious School of Music, which is the Manhattan School of Music, of course. And that will cover their costs from a point of view of their living costs, as well as all tuition costs for the full 4 years that they're there.
Right.
But one of the passions that my uncle had really was African heritage.
Yeah.
And this is part of, it's a continuation of that legacy of his. To take, because another thing about the selected students would be that we're looking at students that have a similar passion for Africa,
right,
that have a similar passion for the heritage of our culture, and maintaining and seeing how that then develops from now into the future.
So take us through the selection process. How does it work?
Well, in terms of the selection process, all students are free to kind of apply. They can do that through the Hugh Masekela Heritage Foundation, which is a website, HMHF, and that's .co.za. And
is it only for South Africans?
This is a purely South African initiative. And so all students are open that are interested in music and to kind of go there and look at the details and apply. I think the criteria would, in terms of the selection criteria, that would be more, the Heritage Foundation would be slightly more privy to that.
Yeah. And Mr. Masekela studied classical trumpet at the MSM, isn't it? I think it was from 60 to 64.
1960 to 1964.
So it's quite a prestigious school. Tell us a bit about the school.
Well, you know, of course, a lot of greats come out of the school. For my uncle, it was a place where he really found his roots and was able to kind of build his career from that, because one of the key individuals that he met at the school was Stuart Levine, who actually ended up becoming a lifelong friend of his and a lifelong collaborator in music. Not just him, he also met pianist Larry Willis, who also was a lifelong collaborator and great friend of his. And you know, of course, being in New York at the time where jazz was bubbling, you had so many great jazz artists and musicians at the time. Of course, he was married to, he married Miriam Makeba, who was slightly older than him at the time, but then who was already in the music, in the scene. So you know, it's really a hub and a place of great history for you know, for jazz music, and particularly for the roots of where my uncle was able to start.
Your uncle would have turned 80 on the 4th of April. No doubt a jazz legend of note, an artist of note, you know. But talk to us about his foundation and the legacy he leaves behind. What sort of work does his foundation do?
So with the Heritage Foundation, some of the work that they're doing is there's work that's being done in the broadcast medium, where it's about collating and capturing African, the uniqueness of South African music, and how the communication of the music and the content of it has kind of changed across the years and evolved across the years. So there's that involvement. There's also very much an involvement with other artists, trying to particularly create this discussion, this conversation with other artists around how do we begin to take our heritage as Africans, our culture, more seriously. And then, of course, with the scholarship, which is another kind of joint initiative with the Manhattan School of Music. But you know, going forward, you know, it's quite, you know, it was quite unexpected the time when he left us. And you know, he was a man who had so many ideas and so many plans, and his mind was always working. So you know, this foundation was really his vision, and he had really just kind of put it together. So you know, it falls on our shoulders as the family and as those that were close to him to kind of be honest and be true to that vision as purely and as honestly as we can. So you know, it's kind of it's a growing foundation, and it's a work in progress that we're working to. But it's all about ensuring that we maintain his legacy.
How's the family coping? How's the family doing since Bra Hugh's death? What sort of void has he left behind?
He's left a huge void behind. You know, he was a larger than life individual, always laughing, always smiling. You never miss him in a room the moment he gets into the room. So, and the amount of love that he had for everybody, you know, from family to friends, was quite overwhelming. So you definitely feel that sense of longing and missing somebody that was close to you. But at the same time, he's brought the family together in a way that, you know, possibly couldn't have done at the time when he was alive. And we you know, we take each other, we see each other's value much more, and we take the time that we spend together more importantly. So you know, a great loss, but we're very proud of how he represented us as a family. We're very proud of all the work that he's left us with for us to still enjoy, listen to, dance to. And it's more a sense of pride as opposed to a sense of longing and loss.
He had a deep love not only for South Africa but Africa in general. And I'm just reading a quote there from your statement here. It says that your uncle said that my biggest obsession is to show Africans and the world who the people of Africa really are. And I guess the scholarship talks to that, and will further push this as well.
Absolutely.
All right, Selema Masekela, thank you very much indeed, sir, for your time and talking to us about this scholarship offered to about six South Africans here?
Yes.
6 South Africans. So keep it locked on to SABC News. We'll put this information up on our YouTube channel, so if you need any other information with regards to how it works, you can go there to www.sabcnews, and then you can go to our YouTube channel.